Alrighty, it looks like the attendee list has leveled off. I want to thank everybody for joining us today as we do the weekly business update. As always, if we have any questions, please put them in the chat or the Q&A. And with us over to Jeff Walczak.
All right, thank you, Ken. And today, Becca is going to help us show us a way that we can start getting our financial houses in order, not only now, Ken, in front of Network 2.0, but guess what's coming up here shortly?
Peak.
Peak. That's right. So let's listen to Becca tell us what we can do about this.
Thank you. So yeah, as Jeff mentioned, we want to go over how to improve your service provider financial results. So if you are having any financial difficulty right now, we definitely want to focus on fixing this before peak because it will only get worse. And I know it doesn't seem like peak is coming up that soon, but believe it or not, is right around the corner. So I'm going to go through the steps with you and how to create goals for that. So step one is going to be identification. So this is where you want to find where revenue is leaking. So do you check your bank balance to decide whether you'll make payroll? Has just trying to survive become your business culture? And is there no margin for error? So is one bad week threatening your entire operation? So just something to think about. Step two would be inspection. So this is going to diagnose the root causes. So is it due to poor resource utilization? Are you dispatching under 8.3 hours? Low stops per hour count? Unnecessary routes going out? Also, the above market wages. So are you paying over market, believing that it's retaining your drivers? Abnormal supporting expenses. Are you spending too much on fuel, maintenance? Do you have too many BCs? Or could this be your bad contract charges? So these are all, and not only reasons, but a lot of times these are one of the main reasons as to why we're leaking money. So we want to identify that. And why you can't see it from inside the business. So by the time your bank balance signals a problem, the money is already gone. So your AO is buried in recruiting, first advantage paperwork, and compliance admin, and there are no hours left to work the P&L. So there's nothing you can do so much about it now. What's done is done, but how can we move forward and fix it and make the appropriate changes? Step three would be the treatment. So we want to eliminate those non-revenue producing tasks and let you refocus. We offer the free standard budget and expense plan. So this is free framework showing where your business can go and what FedEx expects your cost to be. So it's very, very helpful and realistic to go through this exercise and really, if you have to refocus and make the appropriate changes necessary, now you know where to start. We offer this within our Budget IQ program. So this is going to give you your easy number. Then you're going to be monitoring your daily dispatch yield. This will allow you to see predictive cash flows weeks ahead, and then also know if a renegotiation is needed, but then also performance IQ. So we're going to re-engineer work areas for Network 2.0. There's virtual methods evaluations that will pinpoint the unproductive habits, and then your daily operational focus. So this is where your money is made and spent. Step four is going to be prevention. This is where we will have system and processes that repeat and sustain. So admin IQ is going to remove those non-revenue producing tasks. This will keep recruiting active without consuming all of the AO or BC's time. This is also going to ensure that your contract compliance handled by subject matter experts. We know how, compliance, all the DOT rules, violations, all that good stuff. We are the experts in this area and can help make sure that you are not going to run into any future bumps or anything of that sort. And then this allows you to focus on the truck. So the AO and BC attention is going to stay on field operations and not buried in that chaos. So this is automatically going to be 12 to 24 hours reclaimed each week so that you can focus on what truly matters. And that's what's going to make all the difference. So why we give this away: most contractors have never seen their business modeled against the standards. So one look changes the conversation permanently. Some will take the plan and fix things on their own, which is great. Some will want help executing, and I would say majority would find this helpful. That's where Budget IQ, Performance IQ, and Admin IQ all come into play. Again, this is a little bit later down the road, but if you want to go about it the right way and not make any mistakes and have us on your side and really know what the next steps look like and have a whole plan executed, these are what these programs are really truly for. So, how to improve financial results? These are the steps. Step one is the identification, find where the revenue is leaking. Budget IQ can help with that. Then we have inspection as step two. We want to diagnose the root cause for that. Step three is the treatment, eliminate non-revenue producing tasks and refocus. Step four is that prevention, system and processes that repeat and sustain. And then step five, you are on budget. So now you will have a valuable cash flowing business. Like I said, those programs indicate, how we can help in which step that you're in. So if you're interested in getting a free budget and expense plan, you can always scan this QR code to schedule a session with me, or just send me an email, Becca@eTruckBiz.com, and we can just discuss kind of, maybe you don't know where you're at or what you would specifically need help for. Let's have a conversation and see where you're at, and we can definitely help no matter what stage of this you're in.
All right. That's some good stuff there, Becca. That's good. Folks should want to take you up on that offer, I would think. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about safety. And Taylor and Todd are here to talk about some safety issues.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to start off quickly to let everyone know that we do have a class coming up in Maspeth, New York on August 18th and 19th. We are hoping to see you there. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Todd.
Well, thank you so much. Along the lines of what you want to do and don't want to do, as far as coming into peak season, we know it's coming up, is have to deal with recertification of your certified trainers. We know we have to certify those new trainers coming in to scale up for peak season. Your trainers, if you're one or if your BCs are the certified trainers, whether it's with Impact Solutions, whether it's with another approved vendor, you want to control that system. You want to control that process and not have to recertify any of your drivers coming up to into peak season. 99.9% of the failure that we have had in the last year coming out of FedEx's data is because those certified trainers are allowing their drivers to be certified during peak season. Nobody has the time to do that. Therefore, boxes are being checked, heads are turning the other way, falsifications of documentation. I'm not saying that's anybody on this call. Just be known that FedEx is done with these things happening. It's taken FedEx a while to catch up with all of this going on because there are so many drivers that are being certified, safety trainers being qualified as a trainer through our programs, and it's now coming to a peak within the safety program inside FedEx. And we've had a number of drivers being pulled out of trucks because the process of the certification qualification program was not being followed. Because it's coming up to peak season, those trainers don't have time to worry about that. They are needing to concentrate on the daily operations of their business through any type of system that's structured, but nobody wants to have to recertify those drivers at the same time. So that being said, take control of your safety program. Allow us to help you take control of your safety program. Do not allow your safety trainers to certify or recertify any drivers coming up to or going into peak season. This should have been done in your slower months of the year. Therefore, every 2 years, your CTs know, all of the drivers know that these 2 months, i.e., for example, February, March of every 2 years, we are recertifying drivers. If I'm a driver, I know every 2 years in the months of February, March, I'm going to be recertified as a driver. So your company doesn't falter by having to recertify those drivers coming up to peak season. It's the number one reason why certain contractors are failing in the metal. They went from gold to silver to bronze because of that reason. And again, we can help you with that. We can help you structure that any way you want. Reach out to Taylor and her team in order to go through that. We have partnered with, again, while we're here with Jeff, is to even more simplify that process for you on your behalf. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, very cool. So, and hopefully here soon, there's going to be another cool safety announcement, but we'll leave that alone for now. Okay. Thank you, Impact Solutions folks. And as we always do, let's look at the volume. Looks like on the pickup side, stops are down, Packages are hanging in there, but stops are down, which is kind of strange, but we'll see how we do this. But anyways, we're down a little bit last week. The delivery side, stops and packages backing up a little. That's kind of strange. And then here we go. Dispatch is down a little bit. Stops per dispatch down almost 1%.
Yeah, we pushed back down from 98 point, I think, down to 97. Got to start pushing back up towards that 100 mark.
Weather's hot out there. I guys hear that all the time. Oh, it's hot. It's hot. Yeah, I know it's hot. And it's cold in the winter and it's wet when it's raining and everything else. And I know it's hard, but we got to keep the productivity up there. It pays the bills. Okay, so this week we're going to talk about 11 mistakes that rookie service providers contracted to FedEx make in their first year. So let's just jump right into it. Mistake number 1. You shouldn't automatically assume your BC that you inherited when you bought or inherited part of a business is the right one just because you've been told they performed well. You need to go ahead and dig deeper. The key question to ask is, can your BC explain the cost structure of your business? Not just whether everything's on time, what the service was, but how much each route actually costs and what the dispatch yield or what the revenue minus the expenses are on each route. If they can't answer this, you can treat it as a 30-day evaluation period. Folks, you have to, especially with 2.0 now, you have to be aware not just of getting stuff done. We have to figure out how much it's going to cost to get that stuff done, right? So why it matters, a BC focused only on service levels will keep authorizing overtime and inefficient routing to hit the service targets. They're optimizing for one metric while bleeding money on the other side, right? BCs are not supposed to provide service at any cost. Let's just say you have $8,000 a month in unnecessary costs inside what looks like good performance. So I'm a gold contractor. I know what I'm doing. But what if that gold metal is costing me an extra $8,000 a month in different things? $8,000 a month doesn't sound like much to be gold, but that's $96,000 a year that you could be spending in addition, or could be spending versus what you need to be spending. Don't confuse good service with good business, right? Always vet the economics, not just the metrics. Ken and Bob, do you have anything along these lines?
Also, don't confuse effort with results. That's a wise one Gary Wade once said.
Right.
It's absolutely true. They might be running around all over the place, making sure everything gets on the truck. What are they really accomplishing? And do they know how this is about talking about how much revenue or what the truck costs? Do they know how many stops have to be on that truck to create the revenue?
Okay. Don't BC is the right one there, right? Okay. Mistake number 2, newbies make. We know there's a bunch of newbies that end up watching this later. Waiting too long to start driver recruiting. So when you get to be a contractor, you're going to experience 30 or more annual driver turnover. If you think about this, each replacement or each turnover is going to cost you somewhere in the neighborhood of $7,000 plus. It's hard to see that because you don't have to write a check for $7,000. But the problem is you got to put the new person in there. They have to learn what's going on. Everything you do with a new hire costs money, right? So when you factor in recruiting, onboarding, screening, physicals, training, everything else, it's about $7,000. But for a 15 driver operation, that's $105,000 just in turnover costs. It's tough to see it, but that's what it costs. So anyway, the key to recruiting is to always be recruiting, right? Don't wait until a driver quits. Then, I need to put an ad out someplace. I need to find somebody. It's too late. When somebody quits you, it's over. You got a bigger problem than. So have pre-screened candidates ready and waiting on when you get started, when you stand up to your contract on day one. This proactive approach costs money. I just said that, but saves a ton more than it costs and keeps your operation running smoothly.
Hey, and also too, getting into it, the people that you've got, the new drivers that you inherited, are they the right culture fit? They could cost you more than a 30 to 40% annual driver turnover. You got to make a move to put the right people in. They've got to be willing. We can teach the able, but they got to be willing to do what you need them to do. at all costs.
So if you're,
if you got
if you're a
100,
I was going to say, if you're a new contractor, how do you know? How do you know the new contractor? How do you know that the drivers that stuck around when you stood up, how do you know they're the right folks?
Getting advice from the right people.
Mistake number 3, relying on what we'll call parking lot advice. This is about who you're turning to for advice when building your operation. You might naturally ask the BCs and the AOs who've been there longer or other service providers at your station. And it makes sense to ask the folks that are there, what do they think, right? Here's the problem. Those other service providers and BCs aren't necessarily your mentors. They're your direct competitors. It's very difficult to understand this when you get started. They're competing with you for the same drivers, the same revenue, the same market share, and the same attention from FedEx. So when they give you advice, it's coming through a filter of self-interest, whether they realize it or not. Their suggestions might actually benefit them more than you. Because what do you have that they want?
Revenue and resources.
Resources and revenue, you're right, but resources. What do we mean by resources? They've got drivers that you've got drivers they probably want. And if you guys haven't been in this before, there's something called poaching out there, right?
and hey, if your BC says you're the 4th AO that I've worked for in the last 5 years, you might have a problem. You might have an issue. Or if the drivers say that, yeah, we've been through so many AOs. Well, why? The culture part. You got to get the culture part right from the get-go.
So experience doesn't equal objectivity. Always think about what's motivating the person giving you the advice. Are they actually invested in your success, like us, or do they benefit from keeping you at a disadvantage? So now there's some assets you're going to take over. So a mistake with the assets you take over is don't rush into taking over trucks without doing your homework. Always get an independent mechanical inspection on every single vehicle you're acquiring. Don't rely on the seller's word or a quick once-over. Guess what shape the trucks are in when you ask the guy selling them?
It's not good, but they'll tell you they're perfect.
Those trucks are in great shape. I take care of them and everything's great with every one of them. So also check the cubic capacity against your actual package volume needs for the CSA. Make sure the truck is right-sized for your operation. Oversized or undersized vehicles create problems. What if some guy says, hey, I got 25 trucks in this operation and 15 of them are cutaways?
Run.
What's wrong with the cutaways? They're so much easier to fix and they're so cheap to operate.
And so unproductive.
Breaking all the time. Anyways, budget for a first-year capital reserve to cover 1 to 2 vehicle replacements or major repairs. Things break and you need to be prepared. So a truck that looks cheap but needs $6,000 in deferred maintenance in the next 90 days is not a bargain. You'll end up spending more than you saved, factoring in all the hidden costs before you commit. So yeah, be careful with the trucks that you're gonna inherit. Okay. Mistake number 5, assuming the existing dispatch plan is optimized. Many teams inherit dispatch plans and assume they're already optimized, but that's rarely the case. Two route plans with the same number of stops can cost thousands of dollars apart each month, depending on how efficiently they're laid out. So look at what you inherited, assess the actual routes and the metrics being used, be willing to re-engineer, don't just accept the status quo. Optimize based on stop density and total drive time. Track and then measure. Track your dispatch yield, productivity gains within the first 90 days to prove the value. So the key question is who actually re-engineered the route or routes as they exist and what was their reasoning? If you can't answer that, or if the BC can't answer that, it's time to do it yourself. So Bob and Ken, can we help with this?
Absolutely. Bob is a certified FRO expert.
And again, too, just like your drivers and your BC's been there for years, if we've been running the same routes for years, it might be time for a change. You need to change them up. Take a look at them at least.
Especially with Network 2.0 coming on, the makeup of the CSA is going to change. The type of stops are going to change.
When you got involved with their route engineering, and especially 2.0 coming into those areas, Are those the way those routes are engineered? Are they completely the same with 2.0 volume?
No, absolutely not.
No.
Because it changes so significantly.
Just something to throw in there. Mistake 6 is inheriting the just trying to survive culture. This is a critical mistake when many new owners make it without realizing it. They inherit the just trying to survive culture from the previous owner. So if BCs and drivers gotten used to finding workarounds instead of solving root problems, right? Is everybody more busy trying to figure out how not to do the right thing than to just do the right thing? Well, it's hard, Jeff, to do the right thing. That's right. But if you do the right thing, then what happens?
And you can begin the journey of continuous improvement rather than surviving.
That's right. I just heard this from somebody late last week. I'm just trying to survive, Jeff. Okay, we need to not be in this business, just trying to survive. Does the team view FedEx as the enemy rather than the partner? I know that's a very controversial topic. Everybody wants to blame FedEx for everything, but they're a Fortune 50 company that's paying you. And many people would like that to happen. So they're not necessarily done. Not telling you to make it easy for you. I'm just telling you they're not the enemy. And then when you hear it, that's just always how it's been done. So I'm a new contractor and we do it this way because that's the way it's always been. That's a sign of resignation, not strategy. There's no, what are we doing here, right? So you don't want to inherit that culture, that mindset that we're just trying to get it done. Then there's mistakes about money that people didn't plan for. So are you entering this business without some sort of financial plan? I'll bet a lot of folks entering the business don't even know that there should be a financial plan or any idea where to start with that, right? So there are expenses that you should be watching more than others. I shouldn't be watching how much a tire tread depth gauge costs. That doesn't matter. What matters is how much your payroll is, how much you're spending on wages as a percent of revenue. You should be also monitoring or figuring out why in the world why are we spending all this time, money, and effort trying to come up with the most exotic bonus plan we can think of? What kind of exotic payroll bonuses, whatever does this do?
They do this thing called pay by the hour. And then if somebody works over 40 hours in a week, they pay time and a half for those hours over 40 hours. But they basically give them a start time and they expect them to finish at a certain time. So they have them cover a shift.
So if you're new to the business and you're coming into this business and you start talking to the BC and they start talking about, well, we pay this guy for 7 days, but if he works 5 days, we pay him for 7 days. Or we pay him $50 a day to show up. Is that a financial plan? Or is that something that's always happened and that's the way we do it? I don't know.
And many people have inherited really bad bonus structures.
There are no good bonus structures.
I concur.
But that's what Budget IQ is about. We can provide you with a standard budget expense plan and run you through the whole thing and map the whole thing out so that it's very easy to understand and very easy to keep it in mind what's supposed to be happening, right? So you're new, have a financial plan. Another mistake is paying a multiple instead of for dispatch yield. This is a little bit advanced topic here, but when you start looking at how much you're paying for these areas or these businesses, there are different ways to do it. We would very much caution you on taking somebody's word for it, what a multiple or what an appropriate multiple might be in this business. Okay, mistake number 9 that new folks usually encounter is underestimating working capital. So working capital is one of the most underestimated costs. There's 3 key numbers to remember. So you probably want to have about $75,000 minimum reserve for 6 months of debt service, whichever is higher. This is your safety net. Now, I know a lot of you are out there saying, wow, there's no way I've got that much. I can't keep that. There's no way. Then we don't have a good, healthy business if we don't at least enter the business with some reserves. You need to have some 6 to 8 week ramp up period. So your first 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to have costs for things that you didn't think you were going to buy. So for instance, did you think you had to buy a new set of uniforms for everybody? Depending on how many folks you have, that could run up to be a pretty substantial bill. You're going to have to, because guess why? The old company's name should be embroidered on those uniforms somehow, right? So did you prepare for that? Did you know that was going to happen? If not, there's something there. So some would say you need about a $235,000 real liquid need. It may not be that high, but you need to have some money backed up. Let's put it that way. New CSPs don't realize how much time is eaten up by manual administration. We're talking 8 to 10 hours every single week on tasks that could be automated. That's the equivalent of a 25% of a full-time employee's salary going towards work that doesn't actually grow the business. So I don't know why folks get into this business, especially a smaller size operation, let's say under $1.5 million, and then go out and hire managers of this, vice presidents of that, administrators. Those things are not budgeted for. That FedEx doesn't pay you to go set up your own office staff. If it's a small enough operation, they're going to basically assume that you're doing it yourself, doing a lot of things yourself. But that means when you're doing administrative things yourself, that you're not doing other things that are better for the business other than doing administrative things. So you need to be watching what's going on in the trucks, not looking up somebody's phone number to call back a recruiting candidate or something like that. This is a hard one to understand and hard to grasp, but there's us, third-party services that'll do this for you, which means you'll be able to focus on what really matters, worrying about how you're going to do payroll and everything else. So just be careful when you're getting started. You don't want to necessarily just go crazy setting up admin staffs. All right, and the last one is mistake number 11, which is related to the last one, is trying to run everything yourself, right? That's if you have a BC, that's why you have a BC. The BC needs to help you out. You as a new owner need to understand what dispatch yield is and watch it like a hawk, because that is what it's going to matter, especially as you get started. If you don't know what dispatch yield is, or don't even have a way, how would I calculate that? Whatever, we need to get it with Becca, and we will show you and tell you what's going on here. But if you don't know that, if you don't even know what that is, can't even fathom what that means, we're on the wrong road already. That's why we're here to try to help you.
I'd just like to reemphasize 3 of these. A working budget, knowing what you should be spending, where your spending should be going, what your revenue should be. Got to have that. It goes back to the power of one. They will determine the success of your business. You have to have the right one, and they have to have the right knowledge. And they might be a good person. You might have inherited them. We can get them the right knowledge. And then they've got to be willing to learn and accept that knowledge. And then doing it yourself, you don't have the time to do all these things yourself. Turn to the experts that can help you. So I'd just like to stress those. So, and yeah, we do not have any questions at this time.
Okay.
So if we don't have any questions, anything else, Jeff, Bob, anything to add?
No, sir.
All right. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Hopefully you find these 11 items. Not only do newbies make these mistakes, sometimes 20-year experienced veterans make these mistakes. They get tied to a BC that they know could be upgraded and just don't do it. So hopefully you found these 11 items worthy to look at in your own operation if you're experienced AO. So if we don't talk to you before next Tuesday, where we'll be back here, but if we don't talk to you before then, please have a safe and profitable week. Thank you very much.